Hello. We're surrounded by technology that's supposed to make our lives easier. But so often it feels like it does the exact opposite, right? Well, today we're going to pull back the curtain on a really simple but powerful idea that explains why that happens. And, more importantly, how we can fix it. I mean, you know the feeling. You open an app for the first time and you can't find the one thing you need. Or you're trying to use a website and it honestly feels like it was designed for someone on another planet. It's such a common frustration. And if you felt that, you're not alone. And it's definitely not your fault. That friction, that feeling of confusion, it's not just random. It's almost always a sign of this hidden gap, this invisible space between what a person actually needs and what the technology was built to do. It's really a breakdown in communication that happens way before anyone writes a single line of code. Yeah, when we feel that disconnect, it's because the software is either solving the wrong problem entirely, or maybe it's solving the right problem, but in completely the wrong way. The good news is, there's a whole way of thinking designed to prevent this exact thing. It's all about building a bridge over that gap. And that bridge? It's built out of something called user requirements. Now I know, it sounds a little technical, but the idea itself is actually beautiful and simple. User requirements are just clear statements about what a system should do for the people using it. That's it. It's how we translate a real human need into a technical blueprint. And this quote, this really gets to the heart of it. Before we even think about buttons or colors or code, we have to start with the most basic question of all. What does a person truly need? Just let that sink in for a second. Every single piece of technology that you love, the ones that just feel right, the ones that are actually helpful, they all started right here, with a deep, empathetic understanding of a real human need. Okay, so to really understand this bridge we're talking about, you kind of have to see that it's built with two different kinds of materials, and they're for two very different groups of people. It's really just the difference between saying what you want and explaining how to actually make it happen. So first up, you've got the user requirement. This is the what. It's a simple, big picture statement in just plain everyday language. It's meant for managers, for customers, for the people who will actually use the thing. It's just the goal, no technical details. I need to do this. Simple as that. And then you have the system requirement. This is the how. This takes that simple user goal and breaks it down into really specific, detailed instructions for the engineers and developers. It's the nitty-gritty that says, okay, to get that goal done, the system has to do these exact things. A great way to think about this is like ordering food at a restaurant. The user requirement is you telling the waiter, I'd like the lasagna, please. The system requirement, that's the detailed recipe back in the kitchen telling the chef exactly how to make it. You absolutely need both to get a good meal, right? But you'd never just yell lasagna at the chef or hand the recipe to the waiter. So they're both telling the same story, just from completely different points of view. One speaks the language of human goals, and the other speaks the language of technical instructions. But they're both working towards the exact same end result. Okay, so if everything starts with a need, it begs the question, whose need are we talking about? This is so important, because if you listen to the wrong people, you can still end up building the completely wrong thing. And this brings us to the idea of stakeholders. The word for everybody involved is a stakeholder, and it's a really broad category. It's not just the person tapping on the screen. It's anyone who is affected by the system, who benefits from it, or has some kind of say in how it works. And that group of people is almost always bigger than you think. And inside that big group, it is so crucial to know the difference between two key players, the customer and the end user. The customer, that's the person who pays the bills, who sets the big picture business goals. But the end user, that's the person who's actually going to have their hands on the keyboard using this thing every single day. Their needs can be very different, and you have to listen to both. Let's make this real. Think about a simple food app for a college campus. The stakeholders aren't just the students ordering their lunch. It's also the cafeteria staff who have to manage those orders. It's the university admin, the customer, who has budget rules. It's even the delivery drivers and the IT department that has to keep it all running. Every one of them has a unique and valid point of view. And that's why the real skill here, it isn't technical at all. It's human. It's the ability to listen with real, genuine empathy, to try and see the world from all of these different perspectives. So, how do you actually do this? I mean, how do you take all these conversations and observations and all these different needs and turn them into something a developer can actually build? Well, the process is really a journey of discovery. At its core, it looks something like this. First, you discover. You get out there and you talk to people. You watch them do their thing. You collect stories. Then you analyze. You look for patterns, you sort through all the needs, and this is a big one, you help find compromises when different people want opposite things. And finally, you document it, creating that shared blueprint that everyone can look at and agree on. Now, after all of that, what's the one thing to really hold on to? If you forget all the terms and definitions, what's the core idea here? It's really just a simple shift in how you look at things. Because you see, it's not actually about creating some flawless 100-page document that, let's be honest, no one is ever going to read. That's not the point. The documents are just a tool. The real goal, the whole point, is to build a habit of deep, empathetic listening. It's about being more curious about the problem than you are about your amazing solution. It's the simple, profound act of understanding before you create. And whether you're building an app or starting a school project or even just having a conversation with a friend, this mindset works everywhere. What amazing, helpful, truly useful things could we all bring into the world if we just made a habit of starting here by truly listening?